fact, we need this on daily basis to be able to talk to ourselves and talk among ourselves rather than talking at ourselves. I always say this: each and every one of us has solution for Nigeria problem, but each and every one of us is wrong. When you bring your own and you think it is perfect, then listen to the other man. But one thing I believe we all have in common: Nigeria. One thing that we have in common: Nigeria. Ijaw nation, if you like. I have never used Yoruba nation, and I will never, because I believe that my Nigerianness is bigger than my Yorubaness. And neither my Yorubaness nor my Nigerianness should stand in the way of each other. For me, my Nigerianness is very important because I am more than what I should have been as a Nigerian than as an Oduduwa Republic man. And I believe that that should be the case for every one of us. If I have been born in Sokoto, the chances are probably 99 to 1, I will have been a Muslim. If I have been born in Sokoto. If Sultan had been born in Abeokuta, the chances are 99, no, it won't be 99. It will probably be 55 to 45 that he will be a Christian. Now, what has brought a change, or what he has brought, what he is or what I am, is where I was born, by whom I was born, and maybe when I was born. Why should that be a deciding factor for me as a human being? When we are born and how we are born, I believe we are making a mistake. And I have no apology to anybody that I feel that what God has given to us in Nigeria belongs to all of us in Nigeria. And anybody who feels otherwise, good luck to him. The point is that we must aggregate. If you are born in a place and there is a particular treasure in that place, you must enjoy more of it than others in other parts of Nigeria. In domestic, it has been mentioned, and we all know it, the language with which we talk to ourselves. Somebody there said, oh yes, we know your thing and all that, but this one, now that is an insult to me. With all due respect, I see that as an insult. And that is not the language of a well-bred, well-brought up person in an African society. One of the things that we respect in African society is age and authority. And with all due respect, I have them both. Age and authority. With all due respect, I have them both. So I don't deserve any disrespect from anybody. Having said that, there are two issues to me that are very, very important. The issue which have to be legislated. They are issues that have to be legislated. Somebody said, well, if we have state police, what does it matter? Of course it matters a lot from what we have seen and experienced in recent times. It matters a lot because the state governor is the chief executive of his state, is also the chief security officer of his state. But then what instrument does he have to be able to maintain security? And the sort of thing that we have seen and gone through in recent times. What does he have? I know, and some of you will know, what we went through under the Native Authority Police. One of the things that I used to take as example is the Sultan and Cardinal Nayaka. They come together, irrespective of religion, and they have common front, common attitude, common solution, common struggle against what they perceive as our problems. Issues of relationship, issues of language, issues of action we take. Professor Yusuf and Sheikh Gumi came to see me after Sheikh Gumi had gone to the bush to see those boys. I always refer to them as naughty boys. And a number of things were going on before they came to see me. One was that Sheikh Gumi said that the Yoruba, the Christian soldiers were the ones that were killing their people, or something like that. And the second was that he was anointing bandits. So when Sheikh Gumi came, the first question I asked is, did you really say that Christian soldiers were the ones killing you? He said he didn't say that. And in my making effort to receive them, I've called one person who I thought was important. He said, Gumi, I will never talk to him at all. The good thing, if you won't talk to him, I will talk to him. And I talked to him. And I was wiser. The first thing that Sheikh Gumi made me to be aware of is that in where those bandits are staying, they have absolute control of it. And in fact, whether it's the military or the police, they don't go to their camp. I wouldn't know that. And until somebody, an eyewitness, tells me that, I will not know. Now, if that is the case, how then do we solve the problem? Because if we don't know, then we cannot find solution. Another thing he said was that, look, those boys of 13, 14, 15, they are soaked in drugs. So they are ruined. What do we have to do? How do we have to rehabilitate them? Or are we going to leave them ruined for the rest of their life? Now, these are things that we should know. And if we know it, then what do we do? Whatever we say here, or whatever we say in the corner of our houses, should be matched by what we say publicly. Some of us will say something differently, and we come out and say something at home and something different in the public. I believe honesty, integrity demand that we should say it, we should understand it, and say it, and be able to. The point is this. I think we should say this to ourselves. No group in this country, in any part of this country, can dominate the rest of this country without their willingness to be dominated. If we know that, why don't we come together, put our hands together, and really forge ahead in unity, in understanding, and in mutual respect and mutual profit for all of us. The issue of the youth has been mentioned, and somebody said one thing about education, about empowerment, and about skill for youth and employment. If over 14 million Nigerian children that should be in school are not in school, that should be the starting point, because those are the recruits for Boko Haram of 10 years from now, 15 years from now. On 2 occasions when I had the opportunity, I launched UPE in Sokoto. I launched UBE in Sokoto. Although both of them were not continued, but Sokoto was the better for it. And I was surprised the other day when the Sultan was telling me what has been achieved in Sokoto as far as education is concerned. But there's still a lot to be done, and there's continuity to be maintained. That is the immediate future of the youth. And if we don't do it, we are postponing the evil day. And the evil day will even worse, because what we have had, those who will come tomorrow, they have seen what Boko Haram had been, what banditry had been, and they are going to improve on it. I always say to my children, I pity you. By that time, I pray that I will have gone. Not that I really pray that I will be gone. But I will be failing in my duty if today I do not shout and scream about this. Because it will come. There's nothing we can do about it except to start addressing the issue today. And I have always said that about us here. The problem of Boko Haram will not go if all we are using is stick. We may suppress it, we may keep it down a bit, but it will not go. We have to bring carrot and stick together. So when I said this to President Macron, and I give my own country example, he said, oh, you are right, we have to rethink. So even France is now rethinking its policy in Mali, in Chad, and in the Sahel. If that can happen to a country like Mali, like France, then it needs to happen to us in Nigeria, that we should rethink how we resolve these problems. They were not there yesterday. And when in 2011, I went to Maiduguri, and I was put in contact with Boko Haram leadership. And I asked the man who was intermediating, what do you think is the foreign involvement with Boko Haram. And he said maybe 10-15%. I said, how do you come to that? And he said, well, we know them, we know what they bring in, and the people, not much. And that time, it would have been easy to deal with the issue of Boko Haram. Today, the foreign involvement is more than 50%. So it has grown beyond what we can say we deal with. Because the truth is this: President Buhari has done his best. That is what he can do. If you expect anything more than what he has done and what he's doing, you are kicking a dead horse. And there's no need. So, if they pass all this into me and say this, what do I say? I say what I think I should say. I understand the point you are making. When I get home, then they will not let me go. But then, where do we go from here? We cannot fold our hands. I believe, and that is part of what we are doing here, and what I believe we must continue to do. How do we prepare for post-Buhari era? Buhari has done his best. My prayer is that God will spare his life to see his term through. But what do we have after Buhari? What should we do to make post-Buhari era better than what we have now? That is your responsibility. That is our responsibility. Point is this: the youth have become important factor in our democratic system and democratic process and elections. And if they decide this is the way to go, that will be the way to go. And as somebody said, how do we encourage them so that they can go the right way for the good of all of us, but particularly for their own good? Thank you very much.